All right, hello everybody. Welcome to week 4 of History of Western Civ 1 online edition. I realized I hadn't really made a video for you guys in probably a couple of weeks, so I thought I would do that for you. Introduce one of the topics for this week a little bit and just have fun with it. I thought you might enjoy some of this. Yeah, I'll also talk about a little bit about expectations for the next couple of weeks in this video at the very end. So what I'm going to do actually right now is do screen share, and what I want to do is walk through a little bit of a very brief PowerPoint mini lecture with you guys talking about the Greek wars that we're reading about this week, specifically the Persian invasions. The textbook covers both the Persian invasions and the Peloponnesian War. I'm going to be discussing more about the Persian conflicts in this mini lecture. It's not going to be very long, just a few minutes. So what are the Persian Wars? Well, essentially we have the Persian Empire rising in the east, and they've been gradually conquering everything in the Middle East, pretty much. They've conquered Babylon, Jordan, Syria, Palestine, the Hebrews, and they're moving west, ever westward, expanding and conquering more territory, because that's what empires do, is they expand. So Persia is, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but they're taking over parts of Asia Minor by the time we get to the 5th century BCE. And they make their way to Ionia, which is the western coast of modern day Turkey, or Asia Minor as it was known back then. So in 519, the Persians arrive and they succeed in conquering the Ionian coastline. And along this coastline are a bunch of Greek city-states. They identify as Greek. They speak a dialect of Greek. They worship the Greek gods. They're Greek. And they are separated from their buddies over here in the Aegean Peninsula, or what we would call mainland Greece. And they're asking for help of their Greek brethren across the Aegean Sea, saying, hey, this empire is kind of steamrolling us. Can anyone send any help? For the most part, the Greeks in Greece, like the mainland of Greece, say no. They're not interested in helping out the Ionians. Why would we do that? We can't send enough men and supplies and everything to fight the massive Persian forces. But Athens being Athens, they are like, no, we're going to go our own way. And of course, we're going to help you, because why not? And this is a bad move, because not only do they send some troops and ships to the Ionian rebels being conquered by the Galactic Empire, but they fail in their mission. They're not able to help Ionians free themselves from Darius, who's the Persian king. And this basically is tantamount to a declaration of war in Darius's mind, that all the Greeks have declared war on Persia. And he is vowing to not stop with Asia Minor and the Ionian city-states, but also with the rest of Greece as well. So in the year 490 BC, Darius, king of Persia, sets up this massive invasion of Greece. His army lands at the plains of Marathon, which is north of Athens. In fact, it's a little over 26 miles. One could say maybe 26.2 miles, which is the length of a marathon. And we call it a marathon. Like, why? If you've ever wondered why is a marathon this weird, like 26.2 miles, that's the distance between Marathon, which is where the Persian army invaded Greece for the first time, and the Athenian army encampment to the south. So there was a messenger who ran the full 26.2 miles south to Athens and delivered the message that the Persians are coming, the Persians are coming. And according to legend, he dropped down dead at the spot, because that's a really far distance to run. So the lesson, the moral of the story here is don't run marathons, because it's bad for you. Anyway, 600 Persian ships strong is the invasion force. This is a lot. Darius commits a lot of resources thousands of troops, probably tens of thousands to this endeavor. And the Athenians find themselves outnumbered because, well, they just don't have as big of a military as the might of the Persian Empire. But nonetheless, they managed to defeat Darius in this first wave because of tactics, military tactics. At the Battle of Marathon, the Athenians and a few of their allies marched to encounter the invading Persians before they can establish much of a foothold on the mainland of Greece. And so here in the blue, kind of look at the marching ants here. That's where the Athenians set up their forces. There's two heavy flanks on the right and the left, packed full of phalanx formation soldiers. We'll talk about the phalanx in just a second. And then in the center, there's a very thin line. And so this is how they line up. The Persians are boxed in, however, by rivers on the south and to the north. And this kind of crunches them together. They thought this would protect them and ends up doing the opposite. So at the start of the battle, the Greeks march their center forward. And the Greek general, I forget his name, decides to withdraw right away and act like he's retreating and he's scared. This has the effect of drawing the Persian forces, just flooding the center of the battlefield, chasing after the Athenians. Meanwhile, during this organized retreat, the flanks of the Athenian army close in and act like trash compactors, basically. They're crushing in the sides, the flanks of the invading Persian army. This is called a double envelopment, when you are pushing in the enemy from two different angles, two different flanks. And meanwhile, the Greek center reforms and pushes back. And so you have a battle on three fronts happening. And the Persians, already boxed in by these rivers, find themselves just being hacked and slashed by these disciplined phalanx soldiers, formations, butchering them left, right, and center. And they get driven back into the sea. It creates a human crush where the forward Persian lines try and retreat, but there's so many troops behind them that they can't go anywhere. And there's this human crush that happens where the Athenians are able to slaughter just thousands of Persian troops. So this is the end of the first invasion of Greece by Persia. Fast forward 50 years, and Xerxes, who's Darius's son, vows to take revenge for his father's failure and invades Greece again. He takes an even larger force and lands in Greece. This time, he's able to establish a bit of a beachhead and starts invading Greece proper. Now, he is encountered by a force of 300 Spartans. Well, I mean, it's 300, but it's also, there's a couple thousand more soldiers there probably, but we don't talk about them because they're not as cool as the Spartans. They're delayed in their advance by 300 Spartans and others at the gates of Thermopylae, which is a mountain pass passing through the mountains that kind of enters into mainland Greece. If the Spartans hold here, they can buy some time for the rest of the Greek city-states to get their crap in order and assemble a larger army, and which is what they do. So at Thermopylae, they fight for several days, delaying the massive might of the Persian forces by bottlenecking those forces into a very narrow mountain pass. All the Spartans are killed, including King Leonidas, who's pictured here by Gerard Butler in the movie 300, which if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. It's, you know, there's a lot of historical inaccuracies to it, but it's a good story. It's a fun watch. Athens is destroyed in this war. The Persians eventually break through, but at the Battle of Salamis, there's a naval victory by the combined Greek naval forces where 800 Persian ships are destroyed, and without any ability to reinforce or resupply, the Persians have to retreat back to Asia. So one thing I wanted to share, though, real quick, is to demonstrate the Battle of Thermopylae. I thought this would be kind of fun. This is a computer game that my son has been playing a lot called Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. And it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's not accurate at all. But it's a battle simulator where you're able to kind of line up troops and have them fight each other for fun. over here on the left, I don't know what I'm doing in this computer game, but I tried to recreate Thermopylae in some way. Over here we have our 300 Spartans on the left, and on the right we have the much larger Persian forces. But there's a bottleneck here where the Greek phalanx formation, which is tightly packed together, very highly disciplined troops armed with shields and long spears, fight in unison with one another in a very tight, organized military formation. The Greeks really show the importance of disciplined soldiers in formations, which armies have been doing literally ever since. So we'll see how our Spartans fare against the larger Persian forces in this simulation. Oof, here we go. They're clashing, the Spartans are fighting. They're obviously much better trained and armed than the Persians. Oh boy. Oh dear, they've broken through the front ranks. They're now attacking the ranged forces of the Persians. All the frontline melee troops are dead. Oh boy, there we go. Imagine that happening. Wave after wave after wave. And that's the Battle of Thermopylae. Eventually the Spartans are overwhelmed and they are cut down. King Leonidas is killed. It's this very heroic moment in Greek history, but it buys enough time for the Greeks to organize and repel the Persians by sea. So that's basically it. That's just a fun little thing I thought I would make for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed my high budget production values here. I've graded most of your, if not all of your week 2, your analysis papers. So check those out. Check the notes that I put. I put detailed notes and as to what to do better. You want to open up the rubric, like go to your grade and view it by rubric score so you can see exactly like how your grade is broken down. Look at the feedback that I give you so you know what to do better for next time. I'm not going to be able to offer as detailed feedback from here on out because I have over 100 students to grade every couple weeks and it's a lot. So take advantage of the notes I gave you for this paper, analysis paper 1. And that'll help you to figure out what to do better next time. I'm also putting up a sample paper of just an A+ paper that you can look at so you know how to craft an essay that has the same kind of format and attention to detail and structure and citations and all that. Because we have another analysis paper due at the end of this week, week 4. So please use the resources there to, to do a great job on paper 2. Last thing I want to say is I put up a folder called week 5 already, and in it, it's got a study guide for your first exam, which is due next week at the end of week 5. So take a look at that study guide. You get to see kind of, how the exam is going to be dealt with. We'll have the exam up by the end of this weekend for you to start working on. That's the only thing you have to do for next week is the exam. So if you have any questions about anything in the class, let me know via email or stop in during office hours, which my Zoom links are posted in the instructor information on Blackboard. You can chat with me during office hours or just email me anytime. All right, guys, I hope you're doing well. Good luck with week 4, and I will talk to you later.